podcast 976 Daily. I'm here to listen to learning. I hope this will support your dreams. Your goals allow you to become the person that you want to become. Today I speak about emotionally strong and emotionally weak people. Emotional strong and emotional weak. I think that emotional strength is such an important topic in life, and I think that we do not cover enough. Because every single person needs to deal with emotions. Every single person has emotions, and if you don't regulate your emotions in a proper way, of course, it will hinder your success. It will hinder your relationship. It will hinder so many different things in your life. So today I will focus on how to understand if you're emotional weak or emotional strong, and what areas do you need to focus on to really get stronger, get better, because emotional strength or emotional weakness is developed. That means if when you realize, okay, I'm weak at this, I'm able to improve. Like everything in life could be improved, and emotional strength is one of the most important areas to develop in life. So let's get started and start looking to what are those differences between emotional strong and emotional weak. So number one is resilience in adversity. Emotional strong people are able to really bounce back from adversity and setbacks and failures very, very fast, because they see that failure is part of life. Failure is something that you're able to learn more than from success. So when they experience failure, they're able to say, oh, that happened for me, not to me. That happened for me because I learned, I developed, I was failed forward. While when we look into people who are emotionally weak, they don't see that growth opportunity in failure. They say, okay, dwell on that failure, and they start to internalize that failure. They say, okay, that's probably, I failed because it's me. I'm the failure. Because there's a massive difference between saying that I failed and I'm a failure. And I think that a lot of times people who are emotionally weak have a tendency to really put that failure on themselves rather than on their behavior. Because people who are emotionally strong, they understand that their behavior led to that failure. But that means that they're able to change behavior. Behavior is easy to change. Who you are sometimes it's much more difficult to change. But at the same time, you're not a failure. You just chose behaviors that led to failure. And a lot of times people who are emotionally weak, they are overwhelmed by challenges of adversity and failures. Number two is emotional regulation. This is probably one of the most important things. There's so many successful people that I'll listen to, and when they say, okay, what is number one thing that separates successful people and unsuccessful people, and they always mention that emotional regulation. That's a key part of success. So that means they manage their emotions well. They keep them in check. They respond into life rather than react. Because people who are emotionally weak, they just react to every single thing. And they are like fire. It just gets fire emotional and it's reduced. Get fire and reduce. So, but we need to make sure that we are able to really regulate ourselves. Because sometimes when you're very, very motivated, you may be demotivated. When you're motivated, you're demotivated. But emotionally strong people, they're able to really, no matter how they feel, they're able to regulate those emotions, to understand that I'm able to act no matter how I feel, and I'm able to dictate how I need to feel. That's the most important part. So, okay, what is my goal? What is my vision? What I need to achieve? How I need to feel to be able to act? And they're able to regulate their emotions. And that is what emotionally strong people do. They regulate their emotions. They know that they are in control. That's probably the most important part. Because a lot of times we give up on emotions, because emotions could come and take control over us. But we are able to take control of our emotions as well. We're able to sit down and say, I am in control. And I will make sure that I will change. I will sit here on my butt until my emotion will change. Now, of course, in my video, people will be able to change for 5 or 10 minutes. That's okay. Sometimes you're able to change it for 15 seconds. And that's supposed to be massive change. You're supposed to be happy because of progress. Progress, 15 seconds. Okay, that could lead to 25 seconds. That could lead to 5 minutes. That could lead for 1 day of managing your emotions. And that's what we need to start working towards. Because sometimes we start meditations, start some kind of exercises to emotional regulation, and we expect massive results immediately, that meditation will lead to emotional regulation that we've never seen before. No, we've been living for 30 years. We were not able to regulate our emotions for decades. How are you supposed to think that we will start to learn how to emotion regulate within one meditation session? No, we need to do that for years until we're able to really be any close to emotional regulation if you never done it before. Number 3 is positive self-talk. People who are emotionally strong, they are able to really speak about themselves, tell themselves that what is good, and they have affirmations to themselves. While people who are emotionally weak, they may engage in a negative self-talk. They could start seeing faults in themselves. There's a massive difference, because if you start to see affirmations and appreciation of the things that you see about yourself, what you appreciate. If you appreciate some things about yourself, that will heal more. But if you start to have negative self-talk, you hate yourself. People, when you hate somebody, of course you don't nurture it. What you love, you nurture. So that means we need to understand that we need to love ourselves and compliment ourselves on the actions that we take. That's the most important, on actions that we take and who we are, and on intentions that we have. Number 4 is setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. That's, again, emotionally strong people are setting boundaries. They know how important it is, because emotionally weak doesn't set boundaries. And that a lot of times lead to disappointments, emotional weakness, because emotionally weak people have difficulty to say no. And they, of course, overextend themselves. And that creates a lot of stress. And of course, it's very hard to have your emotions in check when you're running overwhelmed by trying to get validation from every single person. But when you really know that you are worthy, you are enough, you are okay saying no, and you are able to say yes to the most important things, and of course, that increases your value of yourself. And of course, you are much more committed to have a great emotional strength. Number 5 is seeking help when needed. Seeking help when needed. This is probably one of the biggest strengths. So many people say, no, I will figure this out. I will figure it out on my own. And they wait decades, and they're still hoping that they'll figure out by themselves. I truly believe one of the best shortcuts in life is reaching out for help. Reaching out for help. It's crazy how much shortcuts in life you can get by asking for help. Find people who are emotionally strong and ask, what do you do? How did you develop this emotional strength? Or sometimes even seeing a therapist. This is probably one of the strongest things that people could do, asking for help. Every single person has trauma. Every single person has something to overcome. Everything. Like, I truly believe there is no person on earth who doesn't have at least one trauma in their life that they need to overcome, that they need to learn from it. And I think that every single person needs to talk about that, and being able to be vulnerable and share their thoughts, their feelings, to make sure that they're able to use that adversity, they use that failure for their own benefit. And that seeking for help is very important. Emotional weak doesn't do that. Emotional strong people always asking for help. Number 6 is practicing self-care. Emotional strong people, they always understand that self-care. A lot of times is probably the biggest thing, selfless things to do is taking care of yourself. Because when your cup is totally full, when you take care of yourself, it's very easy to pour on others. Now, of course, I understand that sometimes adding value to other people is byproduct is filling your cup. That's totally true as well. But if you adding value to other people by hindering your energy, by hindering your success, that of course is very, very unsustainable. And we need to make sure that we do not burn out, because if you don't take care of yourself, and that's something that's number one thing why people burn out, because they do activities that eat their energy, and at some point you don't have energy to give, but you're still trying to dig in where there's no energy, and that of course that's how burnout happens. So that means we need to always say that, okay, what energizes me? What's energized me? How would you take care of myself that I have enough energy, and I have that energy, of course, I'm able to give. I really feel better about myself. Number 7 is adaptability and flexibility. Emotionally strong people are able to adjust, and they know that they are capable of adjusting, and they approach every new idea openly, and they are excited about new ideas because they know that they will develop, they will learn, they will grow, and of course they adapt to new circumstances. While emotionally weak people, they are very, very hesitant about change because they already had their comfort. They feel comfortable. Now, when they get out of that comfort zone, of course, that gets unbearable sometimes because those emotions are creating so much stress and anxiety, and they struggle to adapt to new changes and unexpected situations and circumstances. So, of course, they will be avoiding those changes. Number 8 is cultivating gratitude. Emotions from people, they have practices of journaling, they have practices of gratefulness, of appreciation, because they know that how important is appreciation. What you appreciate, appreciates. You appreciate your life, you appreciate your emotions, you appreciate your money, you appreciate everything, and you have more of it. It doesn't matter how much you have, but when you appreciate it, it will extend. You will get more of it. I truly believe that this is hands down one of the most important lessons in life is appreciate what you have. Not settle for that, because there's a massive difference. Is appreciate what you have, but always pursue for more. Appreciate what you have, but always pursue more. But emotional weak people, they focus on lacking. I'm lacking money, I'm lacking health, I'm lacking this one, I'm lacking height, I'm lacking weight. There's so many things that lacking. People who focus on lacking, they get more lacking because you get what you focus on. You get what you focus on. If you focus on lacking, that's what you get. And we're not supposed to really dwell on negative aspects of our lives. Because again, what you focus on, that's what you get. Number 9 is building healthy relationships. Emotionally strong people love surrounding themselves with people because they're able to regulate their emotions, find themselves how to communicate effectively, because communication is very, very important. And of course, they surround themselves with positive, communicative, trustworthy people. While people who really don't have that emotional strength, who are emotional weak, they sometimes surround themselves with people who are very toxic, or sometimes even isolate themselves. They don't want to speak with anyone, so they stay at home by themselves and isolate themselves. And it's interesting because emotional people want to be part of it, you want to have communication, but because of some kind of depression, because they're emotional weak, they isolate themselves. And that isolation creates even more emotional weakness, creates more depression. And it is that cycle that is very hard to break. And every single person needs to work very hard to meet people, even though they don't want to do that. Because, of course, they know that when they will meet people, everything will become better. Because a lot of times when we meet people who are emotionally strong, we're able to rub off that emotional strength that they have. Because emotional strength is one thing that we're able to learn from other people. It's a beautiful thing. Association is very, very powerful. So we always need to look how we're able to really build that healthy relationship by surrounding ourselves with strong people. And number 10 is facing fears and taking risks. That's the last one. Facing fears and taking risks. Emotionally strong people, they know that they will be able to regulate their emotions no matter their station. So they could go prone to any kind of difficulty, adversity. They know that they will be able to manage their emotions and take some kind of action. It doesn't require you to take massive action during massive adversity, but being able to really move forward. One of my favorite quotes is that if you're not able to fly, then run. If you're not able to run, and walk. If you're not able to walk, then crawl. But never stop moving forward. And this is very, very powerful lesson. Very, very powerful lesson. I think that this is emotion strong people are very good at because they're able to crawl forward no matter what. Sometimes it's much easier to move from 1 to 20 than from 0 to 1. It's much easier to move from 1 to 20 than from 0 to 1. And that means that crawling, keeping that small momentum will allow to achieve much more results rather than starting and stopping. So crawling, that means you didn't stop. So it allows you to keep that momentum going. And that's why most strong people are very good. And they take risks. They know that no matter what happens, no matter where that is, they calculate risks. They take calculated risks. Emotional weak people sometimes don't take calculated risks and they then fail. And of course, at the same time, they don't want to take risks. They are afraid of things. And I think that is one of the biggest things that why emotionally strong people succeed, because they are able to really face their fears, take those risks, and really overcome, be adaptable, and really making sure that they're able to regulate their emotions during tough days. And that's, of course, how they start getting results when emotionally weak people still hoping and wishing about results. as the most important part that I want to understand, and what I mentioned at the beginning, that emotional strength is developed script. So if you do not have right now, you're able to look at what I'm able to develop right now. Which one of those 10 things that I'm feeling the most weak, and which areas I would love to develop, and start developing them, that make sure that in a year, maybe 5 years, you will feel, now I know, I'm much better than I used to be. I was emotionally weak as well. I was mentally strong people. I was able to really persevere in anything. But I had difficulty to regulate my emotions as well. But I was able to work on it and develop it. And now I feel that I am really pretty good at it. Still, there's a lot of things that I need to develop, but I know that if I was able to develop it, I know that every single person is able to develop that as well. It builds belief, and beliefs allows me to understand other people, allows me to have empathy and sympathy at the same time. So I hope you will choose to win, and I hope you will really reflect on your emotion regulation, on your emotional strength. And I hope that you will reflect on that, and you will be able to really improve that in the next year, next decade, just to make sure that you're able to achieve more than ever before. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.